Hi guys! Today I have come up with a new topic, reproduction in plant from chapter 12. Children, do you know which is the reproductive organ of plant? Yes, it's flower. And children, flowers may be unisexual or bisexual. Now tell me, what is meant by unisexual flower? Yes, uni. Uni refers to one or single. So the flowers which contain only one male part or might be a female part. So such flowers is said to be a unisexual flower. Example for unisexual flowers are corn, papaya and cucumber. Okay? Then, talking about bisexual flower. Bisexual flowers which contain both stamens and pistils, that is, both male part as well as the female part, is said to be a bisexual flower. Bi refers to two. Clear? And some of the examples for the bisexual flowers are mustard and rose. Okay? So you will have a confusion. Is it in the single flower or in a different flower, right? So the both male and female unisexual flowers may be present in the same flower, same plant, or maybe in different plants. Understand? It can be in a single plant or it can be in a different plant also. Fine? Shall we move on? Let us get inside our topic. So the sexual reproduction in plant. So we know that flower is a reproductive part and male sex organ is stamen and female sex organ is pistil. Children, these things you have already read in class 6, isn't it? So just we will have a small recap. Children, you can see the complete structure of flower of hibiscus. So hibiscus is an example for bisexual flower which contain both male as well as the female reproductive organ. Now see here, the green part is said to be a sepal. Okay? And the colored and attractive part of the flower is petal. Then, talking about the male reproductive part, it is stamen. So, stamen contains anther and filament. Okay? And the female part consists of stigma, style, ovary. And all these three together form a pistil. Clear? Let us zoom on the stamen. Children, stamen is the male reproductive part of the flower. Okay? So what it consists of? It consists of anther and filament. So when you see this anther, they contain several pollen grains. The pollen grains are very sticky. Mostly it will be in yellow in color and it has light weight. Okay? And these pollen grains should be transferred to the female part. Which is a female part? Yes, it's pistil. Okay? Next, about pistil. So pistil, it consists of stigma, style and ovary. This ovary contains egg and that part is said to be a ovule. Clear? Mostly the upper portion of the pistil is called style. it will be taper, and here it will be bottom will be broader. Understand? The style has on tip the sticky part called stigma, where the pollen grains lands on it. So this is the male part. So here in the male part we have pollen grain. Pollen grain is a male gamete. Clear? And that should be transferred to the female part on stigma. So how does it is transferred? Pollination takes place by wind, water, and by insects. Okay, children? The next one is the mechanism of sexual reproduction in plant. The first step is pollination. Pollination involves transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stamen to stigma of the pistil. So these things already we have discussed in the last slides. And what is next? After landing of this pollen grain, what happens the next? It's fertilization. So now the male gamete, that is pollen grain, they unite with female gamete, that is egg. Clear? And what does they form? They form zygote. That is what happens in fertilization. After that, what happens to the zygote? The zygote develop into seed. That is what? The formation of seeds. And what happens to the ovary? The ovary matures into the fruit. That's what we get, the fruit part. And now the zygote that well developed into a seed. And now seed can be an individual plant to grow. So when they fall into the soil and when they get the presence of moisture, the seeds swell up and the shell bursts open. And radicle goes inside the soil to form the root, and plumera grows upward to form the shoot of the plant. And this is what the complete sexual reproduction in plant takes place. Clear, children? And the next one is the types of pollination. You know what is pollination and how there are different types of pollination. The one is the self-pollination and one more is the cross-pollination. You can see in the picture about the self-pollination. It means self-pollination takes place within the same flower. See, you can see it takes place the transfer of the pollen grain to the female part stigma in the same flower. That is what we say as a self-pollination. It can take place in the same flower like hibiscus or between the two flowers of same plant. That is what is a self-pollination. And what about cross-pollination? Cross-pollination takes place between the two different flowers. Okay? So it can be in two different plants of same species, but keep in mind it should be of same species, not with a different species. Okay? Then, what is fertilization? So fertilization, you can see the picture. Here this is the pollen grain, that's a male gamete, right? And here is the ovum. Inside the ovum we have an egg. So only one egg will be there, and that egg is the female gamete cell. What is male gamete? Male gamete is pollen grain. Already I have repeated ample of times. Okay, fine. What happens in fertilization? As soon as this pollen grain land on the stigma, now this pollen grain, they form a tube. Okay, and that tube is said to be a pollen tube. Understand? And this pollen tube grow through the style and they reach to the one of the ovule. So they reach where does they reach? They reach the ovum. Okay, and that is the egg. So now the pollen tube will contain two male gamete. How many male gamete? Two male gamete in the pollen tube. And that gamete passes through the pollen tube and reach the egg. So now here they fuse. The egg fuse and they form zygote. They fuse. Fuse in the sense they unite together. One will be the male and this already the egg, the female one. Clear? And they form zygote. And eventually the zygote will develop into a seed. And this part will develop into a fruit. That part is said to be an ovary. Understand? See, is a clear picture. The flower, after pollination, the pollen tube develop, and here there is a fusion, fertilization takes place. After fertilization, this becomes seed, that is the ovule become seed and the ovary become fruit. You can better understand in this picture. See here, this sepal becomes this one, and this ovary becomes the fruit part, and the ovule part becomes the seed, and the pedicel becomes the fruit's pedicel. Okay, understand? That's it, children. Isn't it quite interesting and amazing? Okay, watch the videos twice for the better understanding and refer the textbook. Clear? Read it line by line. So whenever you get the doubt, go through the video. Thank you, children. Thank you once again.